Good morning, everybody. I am Jennie Hendricks at Century 21 Prestige Realty, and welcome to your Monday morning market update, where you get all of the lowdown that you are going to need for this week in your real estate endeavors. We're at week 32, episode 32. 32 weeks of 2020. It's been quite a ride. Our inventory is up again, just a smidge, but I'm gonna take it. We're at 122 active listings in our local area. The median list price, hold on to your hat, the median list price is $340,000. That's up again. 32 days on the market is the median number of days on the market. We've got 280 pending residential sales. That is also up. So again, no signs right now of the market slowing down. We're still just rocking and rolling. Median price for the pending residential sales is $244,900. It's about $245,000. Okay, if we jump over to the 12-month numbers, 974 sales in the last 12 months. That's 81 per month. That's a lot for our market. Our 6-month numbers, staying solidly above that 500 mark, 535 residential properties sold in the last 6 months. That's 89 per month, which is more than 81. So you can see how much our market activity is increasing as we've been moving through the summer. The median sales price in the last 6 months has been $249,000. So it's an interesting thing, we've talked about this before, how the median sales price is so much lower than the median list price. And that's just because that median, that lower end, that entry level range has just got a lot more churn in it. There's a lot more demand in that up to about 250 range. You've got first-time home buyers, you've got investors. There's just a lot of activity in that price range. So the median list price is $340, median sales price right now is $249. Let's talk about some good news. I saw an article just a couple of days ago that reported the unemployment rate for Utah in June. That's the latest statistic that I could find. So in June, the Utah unemployment rate was 5.1%. Nationally, it's 11%. So go team. Utah is doing really well when it comes to keeping people employed. And that's, of course, part of what is driving people's ability to be in the real estate market and make those transactions happen. I thought this was interesting also. Inman reported that in June, Salt Lake City was the most competitive metro market in the country. So, we're here in rural southern Utah, thank goodness. Salt Lake is even going more bananas than we are here. And interestingly, Las Vegas was the least competitive market. I'm going to keep an eye on this for you because Las Vegas is one of our big feeder markets. A lot of our buyers are coming from the Las Vegas and Southern California areas. So to have Las Vegas be the least competitive real estate market in the country, I will keep track of that and we'll see if that does have any effect on our local market here. So far it hasn't. We're still moving and shaking. And I do think this is reflective of how Utah has been able to remain open largely. And you see it everywhere you go. There's license plates all over the place from surrounding states. And they're coming here because Utah is open and some of the surrounding states are not. And I've been told that our sales tax revenue is actually up year over year. So I'll keep track of that for you too. I find that to be a really interesting statistic. Okay, the story of the day, even though we are up just a little bit, is still the fact that low inventory is really what we're dealing with right now. Okay, so how does that affect you? Who cares? So what we're seeing right now, low inventory is starting to drive more and more multiple offer, competitive offer situations, especially in that entry-level price range up to about $250,000. And this is happening all across the country. I was listening to someone yesterday who said in a California market, she had 37 offers on one home. Now, I haven't seen 37 offers here locally, but I have seen 5 or 6 that sellers are working through. So that is definitely something that buyers need to understand. We'll talk about that in just a second. Interest rates are the story of the day as well, if I can have 2 stories of the day. I had a buyer last week who locked a second home purchase at 2.75%. You guys, that's crazy. That's almost like free money. So really cool things going on there. Okay, let's pivot just a little bit and talk about how these sold numbers are kind of affecting what's going on in our market right now. Okay, if we look back at April, so if you remember, the shutdown kind of happened like mid-March. So if we go to April of this year, and the reason I'm picking the April numbers is because we've talked about this before. Real estate sales are about a few weeks behind, about 30 days behind, just because that's how long it takes to move through the transaction. Okay, so in April, there were 65 properties per month being sold. Now, if you remember, we're at 89 per month on our 6-month numbers. If we can keep up those sales numbers and continue to increase our inventory a little bit, we're going to have a much more balanced market. So I'll keep track of that and keep you posted how that's coming along. But I'm hopeful. But for now, we're in the midst of a low inventory market and talking about multiple offers. If you are a buyer, how do you make your offer stand out if you are competing in an offer? Okay, a couple of things you need to know. One is, we've talked about this before, it is mandatory that buyers get pre-approved. You have to have all your ducks in a row or you're just gonna lose out. So make sure you get with one of our fabulous local lenders, get pre-approved. There's still the USDA program, there's still the FHA program, super, super low interest rates. A lot of good stuff happening there. Something to consider, historically in our market, we've had buyers ask the seller to pay their closing costs. It's a way for the buyer to sort of include the closing costs into the amount that they're financing. Being in such a competitive market that we are, consider paying your own closing costs. It helps to have a little bit in savings in this market that we're in right now, in case you need to contribute a little bit more toward your purchase. I actually had 2 appraisals last week come in low. In one case, the buyer said, we're not even gonna balk at it. We're gonna come up with the extra because we think the value is there. We've agreed to pay this price, and that transaction is moving forward. In the other case, we're trying to help the appraiser now find comparables that will support the price that the buyer and seller have agreed upon. So we are starting to see appraisals that can't quite meet that market value that the buyer and seller have agreed on. And I gotta tell you, the last time we saw this was like 07 and 08. So it's an interesting time that we're in right now. There are markets that are seeing buyers waive contingencies. Okay, like the buyer comes in and says, we're not gonna have an inspection, we're not gonna have an appraisal. That makes me very nervous, especially the inspection contingency. just because I think the buyer needs to have an opportunity to understand what it is that they are buying. May or may not be able to negotiate repairs, but the buyer needs to at least understand what it is, the condition of the home, so that they're walking in with their eyes wide open. There might be some circumstances where it's warranted, but I gotta tell you, it would not be my first choice. There's other ways I think to make a buyer's offer stand out. So I would love to be a resource for you if you have questions about buying or selling or inventory in this fabulous real estate market that we're in. I gotta go to work. That is your Monday morning market update. I'm Jennie Hendricks with Century 21 Prestige Realty. Have a great week. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.